Hello, I'm Polly, and welcome to VP Travel Adventures. Day 7 on our cruise brings us to Sitka, Alaska. We were one of the first to disembark, giving us the opportunity to walk around town before the crowds. As you can see, a lot of the stores were not open yet. Sitka is a unified city borough and is the largest city by total area in the U.S. and is the site of the transfer ceremony for the Alaska Purchase in 1867. Our excursion of the day was a scenic tour of Sitka, beginning on Japonski Island with a view toward Sitka, before heading to Fortress of the Bear, Silver Bay, and the Alaska Raptor Center, and ending at Sitka National Historic Park.
He's the one in the water on the left. He's 17. Lots of different stuff. And right now they've just woken up from hibernation maybe a month and a half ago or so. So they're on a little bit of a lighter diet in terms of food, so they get lots more veggies than like later in the season. So this morning they got lettuce and they got carrot and tomatoes and berries, things like that. Later they still get meat. They'll get beef and fish and chicken. And then later in the season, as they naturally start to feel hibernation is getting closer, they will stop wanting vegetation as much. And so we'll start increasing their meat amounts so they can get really big and warm for hibernation. No, the one that's walking along the wall back there, that's Toby. She is a female. Her brother is the one there in the water whose back we're looking at. His name is Lucky. They're both 15. So we have a female and then 2 males. We will lock them out here. We'll go in and put in their den feed, let them in, lock them in. And so while they're eating their breakfast, we go out and we'll bury food and we'll hide things. Sometimes, like you can see lettuce, and they had artichokes the other day, tomatoes, carrots, things like that, pineapple, grapes.
Alaska is also in there where I can't see. They are both 6 years old.
To work with them, and I find it really rewarding to be able to show other people a raptor that they might not have ever seen this close, and hopefully inspire people to care more about the natural world and care more about our raptors and want to do good for them.
And the natives would come through about this time probably and they'd pick the shoots off. And the shoots taste a little bit like licorice and a lot like the berry to come, but they only would do it selectively. But can you imagine 5,000 years ago, you're living in one of these longhouses, and yes, you've been able to go out during that winter rainy season when the wind is blowing and it's kind of cold, like maybe 20 degrees out. Maybe you're staying in a lot more. But spring comes to southeast Alaska, and all of a sudden the fiddlehead ferns are taking their little heads and starting to burst. These are starting to shoot out. You are rejoicing because the season of abundance is back again. So it's a really beautiful time here in the spring. So these will ripen in about July. They'll have berries, and they're called salmon berries because of the color of the roe. And the fish eggs are yellow, they're orange, they're magenta, they're beautiful, and they're about the size of a big blackberry. But you see this very, very light green here. So that's called old man's beard, and that moth is
It's almost like a beard.
right there. It's very, very, light colored green. That was used for medicinal purposes, like if you had an injury and you packed it like gauze because it was antiseptic, absorbent, and could be packed in there and then wrapped, and it would help for it to heal. But I failed to mention on the salmonberry plant, those leaves are used for anti-inflammation, probably about 12 different medicinal purposes for that plant. It's tea, tea. On your cruise, you might see at some shops or different places that have Devil's Club salve or balm. This was like the most important medicinal plant. It probably had over a dozen uses for it, from the leaves to the roots. It's prickly from the top to the bottom, so it's a really difficult plant to work with. The most popular is a salve that they would make to put on an injury, much like what we just talked about, and then maybe they're putting that old man's beard on top of it. But they would cut open and peel the bark back, and they would scrape this inside out, put it into a vessel with some kind of oil or grease, maybe from a bear or otter or some kind of animal. So that'd be about 5,000 years ago. But nowadays they use olive oil and coconut oil, readily available, those types of oils. Set it aside for 6 to 9 months, and then in the spring, when everybody's getting busy again, we're starting to make the medicinal products again because there's such an abundance of it. We're beginning to replenish supplies. They would make that, and it's still used today. Knowledge of where they came from. So we have 5 salmon. This river gets a pink salmon run in July. They come back here, came from here. So these are not hatchery fish. But if we were here 5,000 years ago, we would have set up our fish camp down at the mouth of the river somewhere, and our canoes would have gone out to the ocean and caught these pink salmon because they swim very close to the surface. And prior to like coming up into July, the female is flopping over like this all the time in the water. You can see them, they're jumping and jumping. And what she's doing is she's loosening the eggs in her belly sac. So she's ready, preparing herself to get rid of the eggs for procreation. But we would have taken these trees here, these alder that grow along these lush and fertile sides of the river, to use for smoking the salmon, because alder is very, very sweet. So as that fish comes back up the river to spawn, let's say it came from over here, she comes up and the males stay behind a little bit, and she comes up and she takes her caudal fin and she does this little hula dance with it, and she's sitting and feeding, and the male fish think that's absolutely fantastic. And she finally made her red, R-E-D-D, which is expression in the gravel, which is kind of a fishiness. And she would swim over, expel those eggs, continue swimming for about 100, and die within 100 feet of it. You can literally sit on the bank of the river and see these fish turn into salmon. That happens that fast. Meanwhile, that ferocious male is in the river, and he wants to make sure no predators get to those eggs, so he's scaring them all off.
We make videos for 3 reasons. 1, to share with our family and friends. 2, to inspire other travelers. And 3, so those physically unable to travel will be able to see the adventure through our eyes.